On this episode, we're going to talk about competing with corporate dentistry, how important is a good website, and the best type of marketing for you. Hey everybody, and welcome to the 88 Dental Marketing Show. I am your host, Joshua Scott, and this right here is episode number 6. Episado cinco. I don't know any Spanish. I'm not sure if that's right or not, but it sounds good. Episado cinco. So moving right along, and I gotta tell you, the last few weeks, man, we've been busy and just packed. Like I mentioned, the Chicago midwinter a few weeks ago, and then last week was out of town in 2 different cities presenting branding to new clients, some of our favorite new clients that we're working with. And so, and those are the things that I have a blast with. I mean, that's probably the best part of what I get to do, is to be creative and then present that to these practices and talk about the future of where the marketing is going and what we envision. And so it's just a massive amount of fun. And, you know, to be honest, we have an amazingly talented team. And I'm not just saying that. I've been around dentistry, in dentistry now for in my 13th year. And I'm just telling you, there's not another team in dentistry that does what we do at the level that we do it. And so I'm super proud to work with the guys I do. I mean, they're uber talented, genius. And just at the end of the day, at an end of a week like last week when I'm in and out of cities and presenting the marketing strategies, it just makes me super proud to be a part of this team and what we do. And so that was last week. This week I've got a big speech coming up in Indianapolis that I'm excited about for a big endo practice there, the study club. And I'm thinking right now, if things go right, we may shoot a little live episode of the 88 Dental Marketing Show at the speech, at the seminar. So we'll see. We'll see if we can make that happen, but that would be super fun, right? I just had that thought. It'd be a ton of fun for me and probably for them too, and for you guys watching it later. So that's what's going on. Let's get to some questions.
Our first question is from AJ. What external marketing is the best bang for the buck when competing with corporate?
AJ, coming with the tough questions right off the bat of episode 6, Episado cinco. Man, yeah, it's a tough one, you know, because competing with corporate dentistry, because initially when you say that, based on what these guys spend, I'm like, you're not going to compete with them. I know that, the Aspens and the Heartlands and the Comfort Dentals and whatever the chains are in your region of the country, like when an Aspen Dental goes into town, my best guess is they're spending low end 30,000, high end 50,000 a year on marketing, and honestly, those could be really modest. I mean, those budgets could probably shoot up pretty high, and so those guys are going into those markets spending that kind of money. And so, as a new practice or as an existing practice, it's tough to get up to the table with that much of a budget. And these guys, I mean, you know, so. If I look in an area and I see Aspen Dental and we're getting into AdWords, like, I know they're the number one person I'm competing with. I mean, they've got the AdWords. They've probably got $12,000 to $18,000 a year in AdWords. So when we go into that and there's an Aspen Dental in town, I just know that's who we're competing with when it comes to AdWords. So they're in the digital space. They're also in traditional media. I mean, they're typically buying out billboards, doing the mail, incentives. I mean, most of these practices, it's $19 for a new patient exam, including x-rays and everything. And so, I mean, they're being aggressive. It's an aggressive marketing strategy. I feel like this is a long answer, but I gotta set some things up because it's a really interesting conversation that I've been having a lot lately. The reason corporate dentistry works is number one, they have hacked the economic model. Like they've figured it out. They figured out how to take a practice and a multi-site practice and make it profitable. I mean, significantly profitable. And then number two, they've committed to marketing. There's a strong marketing budget. It's just thousands and thousands of dollars at each practice that's driving awareness. And so when it comes to you, like how can you compete with it? I'd probably say two things. Number one is I would invest the money digitally, just because those dollars are going to spread further. And honestly, I don't know if I would get involved in AdWords. I mean, we would maybe look at that and maybe some of those searches we can compete for, but I'd probably look at some more covert, like guerrilla type places, opportunities like Facebook or LinkedIn, where we can target professionals or age groups or interests or demographics. Because I'm not seeing these guys in those spaces yet. And to be honest, those are really, really new spaces for dentistry, for sure. So, I'd probably look at that. Number two, I would say you got to compete on customer service, on the patient experience. That's one thing that corporate dentistry is probably not going to get right most of the time. And it's not their model. Like they're not trying to. They've got the economics to work. They're driving it with marketing. That's what they need. What you have is an amazing patient experience and standard of care. And so you need to win there. And I think patients will choose that every day. So those are the two things I would say. Is number one, digital marketing. Number two, make sure you're focusing on that patient experience. But it's an interesting, one more thing, right? And then I'll get off this question. It's a really, really interesting question because what I'm seeing right now and what we're talking to, I've had this conversation with a handful of our practices that want to be regional, multi-site practices, either regional in a state or regional in the country. And so they've begun to buy some practices or acquire some, and they have a great patient experience and great standard of care. And so they want to replicate that in other places. And this is the exact conversation I'm having with them is number one, you've got to figure out that economic model. You got to hack it and make it work to be profitable. And number two, you've got to drive awareness with marketing. I mean, that's it. Those are the two keys. So you replicate your standard of care and the patient experience, hack the model, drive it with marketing. And I think that patients choose local, even local multi-site, kind of homegrown multi-site over corporate dentistry every day. I think that you win that long term. And so focus on digital, focus on the patient experience and the customer service. And then I would tell you, AJ, you gotta be in this for the next 10 years. And so if you can do that and put enough dollars on the table to drive a marketing budget over the next 10 years, so where in 10 years from now you've spent $500,000 or $750,000 or $1 million on marketing, man, that's tough to compete with. And so now you're winning that game against corporate dentistry for sure. So that would be my advice.
Question number 2 comes from Nicole. How important is a good website to your practice?
Nicole, very important.
Kyle wants to know, besides word of mouth, what is the best type of marketing?
All right, so let me go back to Nicole's question first, right? Because, yeah, I mean, your website, when I say it's very important, it's because it's literally the hub of your digital presence, your online world. And so it's massively important because everything links back and integrates into that. And so if you don't have it, it's going to be a shallow presence. And, I know like a few years ago, 2, 3, 4 years ago, we saw a little bit of this trend of like, all you need is a Facebook page. Like who needs a website? Why take on that expense and that big investment? Just have a website page or a Facebook page and maybe YouTube. So Facebook and YouTube and you're all set, right? And it doesn't cost you anything. And so I just think it's short-term thinking. Long-term, your website is going to anchor your entire digital presence. And honestly, people just end up back there. And so I think when you're thinking through it and asking like how important is it, you got to think through it from the mindset of we're creating a hub. We're creating the center of the wheel where all the pieces come out from and integrate and link back into. So very, very important. All right, Kyle. Word of mouth, yep, massively important. What's the next best type of marketing? Yeah, I mean, you're right on, man, because word of mouth, the statistically, you're going to spend $250 to acquire a new patient, okay? So $250 you're going to spend typically to get a new patient. That was loud, right? To get a new patient into the practice. And so with internal referrals, you may get those for free. Or you may even incentivize it and spend $50 to $100 to get those new patients in, which is amazing. And so if you can do that, I would play that game every day of the week. Okay. So, and in those instances, if you can keep the practice busy with new patients, do that. Once you get outside of that, what's the best type of marketing? And again, man, this is one of those tough questions, right? Because it's like, I know people are looking for like, what's that one thing? Like, what's the best type? What would you do? And to be honest, I think it's the best type of marketing is the marketing that you need. And I know that probably sounds a little dodgy. Like, I'm not trying to be dodgy, but look, like it's like, what do you need? Do we need to do reviews? Are we just not in the game and we're getting killed on reviews? Look, I mean, so it's March and I just collected all the numbers from our practices. And last month, in the month of February, we had a practice that had 6 new patients from health grades. 6 new patients walked in and said, hey, I found you on health grades. I mean, that's reviews. And so, like, do you need that? Maybe it's a landing page or a focus on what I call a service line. I mean, maybe the doctor, you just took an implant course and you're finishing that up, or a sedation course, or maybe you just bought a CERAC or an E4D or a laser. Then I'm going to walk in and say, we got to promote that. We got to create awareness around the implant part of the practice and get people in here with consultations and treatment. So, I mean, there's that. For some practices, honestly, it's interior design. Like if I walked into the practice and they said, okay, give us your marketing wisdom, I'm going to probably sit back and go, sorry to say this, but the main marketing thing you can do right now is your design. The interior of the building needs help. And to be honest, that's a more common conversation that I have with practices, for sure. And so it's the marketing you need right now. That's the next best thing.
And question number 4 comes from James. Is the dress white and gold or blue and black?
James, clearly the dress is, wait, hold on. Let's put it up right here. Clearly gold and white. Or wait, no, actually, I think it's blue and black for sure, completely. Or wait, hold on. Or maybe it's, man, we could do this all day. Guys, thanks for being a part of episode number 5. Had a great time. Homework for the show, right? What's the number one type of marketing you need right now? What's the marketing you need in this moment right now? Leave it in the comments down below. We'll talk about it on a future episode. Guys, see you next time.